all of these things about organizing meetings.
I spoke before.
So my question to you is, you say you are not a yes man, and that's why the president doesn't like you.
Yes.
You say you realized that, SHA and affordable housing had issues with all of these. Were you ever going to say some of these things before you were impeached?
Yes.
Would you have continued to serve in the administration of President William Ruto? I asked you about some of these things a little earlier. You said, well, what could I do? He was president. You could have resigned, Mr. Gachagua, if you have such grave issues.
I couldn't have resigned.
Why not?
The framers of the 2010 Constitution are very wise. Why did they want a president and a deputy elected? So that they can check each other. That's what I was doing. I was checking from inside until a point he couldn't stand it, and he decided to get rid of me. What happened?
Mr. Gachagua, you were not very successful with checking him.
No, I was. Let me tell you. Let me down.
Well, tell us.
That's why I went to cabinet and opposed the finance bill of 2024. I did.
2023.
2024.
Okay.
I said no, and it was put on record. And he was mad with me. And I went in public meetings asking the MPs to listen to the ground. It was a way of checking. Because when you are deputy president and there is a finance bill, and when people ask me, what do you think about this finance bill? I say, listen to the ground. The people did not want it. I told the MPs, listen to the ground. And the president was mad with me. Finally, when it came to cabinet, I went and opposed the demolitions and evictions of Nairobi River. If you remember, it was one of the charges in the Senate against me. I opposed when I was deputy president. I did not oppose when I left office, Yvonne. I opposed when I was in office. And it was a charge of insubordinating the president because of saying no. Our manifesto was clear that we shall never carry out demolitions and evictions until we have settled the people.
Okay.
When the Gen Z protest came, Yvonne, I want to put it on record so that we are speaking from the same page. I opposed abductions and killings. And when the president insisted, and our kids were shot and killed on June 25th, 2024, on the 26th of June, as deputy president, I called a press conference in Mombasa and castigated President William Ruto and the Director of National Intelligence Service for abductions and extrajudicial killings. I am not doing it because I'm outside, Yvonne. I was doing it from inside. And that is why the president now could not stand it anymore. In fact, it's after my press conference on June 26th is when he made a decision he must get rid of me. And it took him about 4 months. He started putting things into motion. And I told the president, I think it was on June 22nd, when I saw the operation order, what had been planned, the killings, the abductions, I went and I said, Mr. President, I am a parent, you are a parent. I have 2 young boys, you have young children. How can we kill these people simply because they are saying the finance bill is not acceptable? Why can't we listen to them? He said, my friend, you are in government, you do what we are saying. So the subsequent meeting for National Security Council, I was not invited because I would have opposed the operation. So when it happened, on June 25th, the president called a press conference at night. He did not invite me, and he said this was treasonous, these are criminals, they'll pay for it. I was mad because I knew these children were innocent, and they were simply clamoring for their rights and the rights of the people of Kenya. And what happened, Yvonne, is that nature abhors vacuum. The minute the president captured parliament, the minute he compromised Raila Odinga, there was nobody else to speak for the people of Kenya. And since nature abhors vacuum, the Gen Z just came up, because that's the way nature operates, and they started speaking for the people of Kenya. So I made a decision. I flew to Mombasa. I called a press conference, and that marked the end of the relation between me and President William Ruto. We never spoke again. We just pretend we are speaking, but we never met one-to-one. We never spoke on telephone. We were speaking on messages until the day I left office. So you cannot say, Yvonne, that I spoke because I left. I started speaking. For 1 year, I was speaking from inside. And that's why he was accusing me. You know, he was telling me to defend Adani. I told him I will not. He says, go to the TV stations and defend the university model. I said, I will not. Because the thing is not good. You know, I was in a funeral in Kitale, and the Senator for Kisii, Richard Oyonka, really attacked the government because of Adani. And I spoke last. I did not say anything. I talked about other things. I left. And the president's PA called me all manner of names. Wewe ni mujinga sana, you are very stupid. You are deputy president, you spoke last. Somebody has attacked the government and you cannot defend. What kind of a deputy are you? I said, my friend, tell the president to call me and tell him I cannot defend corruption. Adani is corruption, I will not defend. Then he said, utatuona. The rest is history. Yvonne, I am a credible man, I'm a man of honor. And I was prepared to face the consequences of standing with what is right and what is true.
I want us to speak about those protests for a moment and the state of rule of law and order in the country. Since those protests, there have been the abductions, there have been the killings, and there's also now an attempt at charging some of those who are involved in the protests using terror charges in the terror charge sheet. What are your thoughts as to where we are now, the state of the nation now, following the protests, in terms of, you know, the state of the rule of law? There's been talk and questions of having dialogue at this point. What is your thought on the state of rule of law following, you know, everything we've seen with the protests in the country, and what the way forward or the way out of that impasse looks like?
Yvonne, I saw the president gazetting Katiba Day, you know, and I was flabbergasted as to how foolish William Ruto think the people of Kenya are. Katiba Day? He has violated the constitution from the first chapter to the last one. Freedoms in the Bill of Rights have been taken away from the people of Kenya. These young people who were abducted, they were within their constitutional right to question government. Yet, and I have said many times, when the Gen Z started becoming very vocal, the president authorized the formation of a killer squad of 101 officers from the administration police who are seconded to the National Intelligence Service and given very high-skilled training in abductions, killings, and cover-up. And that is a squad that has caused havoc in this country. And it works under the National Intelligence Service. It was authorized by William Ruto. That is a squad that is responsible for gross violation of human rights. And what is sad, Yvonne, and this matter was raised with me in America, and I heard Akina Wetangula saying I went to talk bad about my country. I never talked bad about my country. I love my country. Kenya is a great country, and I told the people in America as much. But we have poor leadership. We have bad leaders. What is shocking, Yvonne, is after all this, a president who is elected by the people, a country with a constitution, a country that has a very strong Bill of Rights, can publicly issue orders for people to be shot in the leg and then taken to the hospital on their way to jail. It's a level of impunity. And I'm very happy that in the bill in the Senate in America, that issue has been raised, abductions and extrajudicial killings. Yeah? So, what is happening again when we had the last protest and Sabasaba? The state took over the protest and sent criminal goons to beat people, burn and torch property, and stage manage attack of police stations and courts. It was done by police. And then arrested innocent young people and charged them with terrorism. You know, that court in Kahawa is a specialized court to deal with terrorism, a very serious crime that needs to protect our territorial integrity and make sure that the country is safe. But to make sure that these young people are intimidated and they have no voice and they will never again hold the government to account, they are charged with the terrorism. So as we speak, we are at the lowest in terms of violation of human rights. And that's where the Americans are having a great problem with us. And we have never reached where we are. And the situation is coming from bad to worse. And it is laughable that the president, ahead of his address to the United Nations, he's going there to the United Nations General Assembly. He is trying to appease the international community because there is a lot of concern about extrajudicial killings and abductions. He is trying to hoodwink the international community by ordering Professor Makau Mutua to set up a team to compensate victims of extrajudicial killings and abductions.
That team has been formally constituted today.
Yeah.
What do you think of the role of that, compensating victims of protests
I think
and dating as far back?
I think it is good. I think we accept it's good to compensate people. But that should be the tail end. Yeah? We welcome compensation. But let's be decent. Let's not try to hoodwink the international community. Before you compensate victims, you must first accept that there were extrajudicial killings. The president should call a press conference and say, hey, my fellow Kenyans, I accept that there were extrajudicial killings and abductions. And this is wrong, and I apologize to the people of Kenya. And I say pole to the families and the people of Kenya. Number two, I have ordered the disbandment of the killer squad of 101 officers who have been abducting young children and killing Kenyans. Number three, I give an undertaking to the people of Kenya that under my presidency, never again shall we have abductions and extrajudicial killings. Number four, all those officers responsible for killing our young people and abducting them will be prosecuted. Finally, sad as it is, I accept that parents have suffered and they require some compensation. I therefore order a mechanism be put in place to compensate those families. And, Yvonne, government cannot compensate people it has killed. We must give it to another neutral body, like the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. Because what is happening is, we have a petition before the ICC. If government identifies these victims, then we will not have witness protection. These victims will not be able to give evidence against William Ruto and the government. So this is a scheme to get to know who are the possible and potential witnesses for cases of crimes against humanity that we are taking to The Hague. So we are saying, if William Ruto is genuine, he must do what I've told you. He must first call a press conference and own up to the killings and the abductions.
All right, before
Yvonne, he must disband that killer squad that has been doing it.
Okay.
And then he must de-gazette that team, pass this responsibility and the funds to the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, which is neutral. Because how do you get people who killed your child are the same people who are coming to compensate you? Even in terms of the way you relate. You know, the same person who shot your child is the one saying, oh, Mama, I'm sorry we killed your son. Yeah? Here is 100,000 to compensate you. How does it work? Let us have an independent body, the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, to be able to do it.
I want to talk about, and to switch gears a little bit and, talk about some politics for